Hello folks, it's Mike Haley 7 again. Last day of April. And I'm riding home. And I got a topic for you. And that is, what kind of education should you get if you're a young person today? College education or high school education, trade? I'll give you my advice. It's just, from my perspective as a college educated and college education job guy. And that is, I think the trades would be a great option. Carpentry, electrician, HVAC, plumbing, automotive. I think all those are great options. They're high-paying jobs, and there's a lot of job security from what I understand. But I will say this, one warning. If you get one of those trade jobs, be careful. You might say, well, why, Mike? Why should I be careful in a trade job? Well, you can't rely on your body to get you into the retirement age. If you're lifting heavy stuff or you're doing a lot of physically demanding work, you can't be guaranteed that your body's not going to fail you around about your 40s or early 50s. It's just a fact. And the harder you are on your body when you're in your 20s, the more pain you're going to have in your 40s and 50s. You don't think it adds up, but it does. Be kind to your body. That's my advice. So what do? If you're in the trade, I think you would probably, when you hit your mid to late 30s, start thinking about making well, if you haven't already done it, struck out on your own to go make a business, that's what I would do. You might want to take some business classes here and there, so you have the basic understanding of how to run a business successfully. That was a nice guy. Gave me the wave. I like the wave. People like to wave. Start your own business. And when you're young and you're working in a trade, let's say you're working as a mechanic for, let's say, Ford or something, you want to make sure that you're putting money away for your retirement. Start early. Put extra money away. I mean, you should just do that on principle anyway, but especially in a trade job, I think you should work smart, not hard. That's the main thing. Because when you're younger, you think, oh, I could lift this and I can do this and that and be tough and strong and all that. And then you can, yeah, when you're young. My dad was like that. Lifted heavy things, and the man was a tank of a human being. But a lot of injuries on the job. He was a construction worker working on the cranes. He was a crane operator, and by the time he was in his mid-50s, he was basically done. His knee was all messed up. I mean, he managed. He went into business for himself, stocking convenience stores with different things. He managed, but it wasn't easy. So you want to kind of plan for that, I would say. If you're going to be in a trade, definitely plan for that. I mean, if you get a job where you're using your mind all the time, you know, if your brain goes floopy, well, you know, you see you later, you're off to the hospital to go, you know, drool on yourself. But if your body goes floopy when you get old, you can still do stuff, you know, you can still use your mind. So I don't think it's necessarily better to get a college education. I just think if you're going to get a trade education, make sure that you prepare for the older years and transitioning into a more business role rather than a physical role. Because do you want to be 62 years old and pulling an engine out of a car? I mean, some people can. Sure, I'm sure I'll get some comments. Oh, I'm 73 and I can still lift an engine with one hand. Oh yeah, but that's not the average. That's the exception. Most mechanics I've ever heard of, by the time they hit their 50s, they're hurting pretty bad. Unless they were smart about it and didn't work their bodies too hard. I mean, college is expensive, yes, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, you can save a ton of money by going to a community college the first 2 years. It can cost you anywhere between $1,000 and $4,000 depending on if you're in state or out of state and where you go, of course. And the quality of the education is excellent. Smaller classes, dedicated teachers. People always give community colleges a bad rap like they're not real schools. Bull pucky. They're very much real schools. In a lot of places you have to get a PhD just to teach there. And then the second 2 years, that's the expensive school, but you can still find schools that are cheaper. And you don't have to go to Harvard. You can go to other places and you'll be fine. I went to a community, not a community college. I went to a 4-year college that was pretty small. Only 900 students. And I'm doing all right. I went to grad school. That was at UMass Boston. And it was like $9,000 a semester. Still paying off my student loans. But at least, you know, I don't have to physically work really hard, which I think is a good thing. I'd rather have this life than the life my dad had, you know, having to work really physically hard jobs. That's just me, though, you know, big fat lazy bum. Alright, so that's the end of my advice for today. I think a trade job is great. You just got to be smart about it. Of course, you have to follow your talent, you know. Hopefully you find something you love doing, and then you don't have, it's not work, it's just fun. It could go the other way. You could love something and then work ruins it for you. It's one of the reasons I'm afraid to make motorcycling too much of a job kind of thing. If I had to motovlog to live, I'd freaking hate it. Alright, this is Mike Kelly 7. We'll talk to you later.